Arsenal nil, Nottingham Forest nil. A frustrating draw in the end, yet somehow we extend our lead at the top of the Premier League table. So I have lots and lots of thoughts in this post-match reaction. This is the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal. Rav here, as always, your host. How is everyone today, this morning, wherever you are in the world? I hope you are well. Thank you for tuning in, as always. I'm recording this about half an hour after the final whistle. Arsenal have just drawn away to Nottingham Forest, recording here Sunday morning, Melbourne time. And I want to say, it's shaping up to be another hot day, another scorching day here in Melbourne. It's going to be pool weather for us a bit later today, so I'm excited for that. But I'm a bit torn on this. In the last look, how do I even compartmentalize my thoughts here? I mean, it's shaping up very nicely for Arsenal. It really is. But look, before I talk too much about this match, just to set the scene, City have lost again. And if you're familiar with my channel, well, if you are, thank you. I have been talking a lot about this lately, just keeping an eye on other results and the way other teams are performing over the last 4 to 5 weeks. It's been a very hectic schedule, a very congested schedule from December to now we're in mid-January now. Arsenal are very consistent overall. I mean, we've only lost 2 Premier League matches. And in each of them, it's taken something out of the box to do it. It's taken that mad scramble, last-minute goal goal against Aston Villa to win it there, and the Dominic Szoboszlai free kick much earlier in the season. Look, it's just where I'm going with this is that Arsenal have otherwise been very, very consistent, despite what I feel like moments where we should do better and we should win, and that feeling, that resounding, comprehensive spring in the step feeling is lacking right now. You can probably sense it with me, the way that I'm talking, because I felt this way after the Liverpool draw about 8-9 days ago, and I'm feeling it again now. However, if I can just zoom out for a moment, take a step back. Manchester City have lost 5 matches now, 5. And where I was going earlier, if you're familiar with my channel, I talk about this a lot, that over the course of Premier League history, when you really zoom in on the winners column, the teams that consistently win the Premier League trophy, on average, you can't lose more than 5. We are 22 matches in now into the Premier League season. City have already lost 5. Their margin for error is growing increasingly smaller. Now, would it help? Would I feel a lot better making this point if Arsenal have put the foot on the throat and we've extended our lead to 10, 11 points as it could have been, right? If we won against Liverpool and won today? Absolutely. I'm not trying to dilute my own point here. We're 7 points ahead on them, which, it's fantastic. It is in its own right. 7 points clear at this point of the season, like that buffer, as much as we can increase that, it informs the rest of the season. It informs selection, how we can start to rotate each plays, especially I always hone in on this as well, that running period, March, April, May, when we've got Champions League knockout matches, big matches away in Europe and at home at the Emirates in like on a Wednesday, and then you have to back it up on a Saturday or a Sunday in the Champions League, play again the following Tuesday. I hone in on that so much, and I would love a buffer. I would love 10, 11, 12, 13 points to play with them, to absorb. And then we can say, you know what, for this league match on the weekend, we're going to sit down Rice, Zubimendi, Saka, Odegaard. You know who I'm referring to, like our real big first team players, Gabriel, Saliba. We need that centre half partnership for those big European matches. We need them. We didn't have them last season, and we came this close to a Champions League final against PSG. So where I'm going with this is that we need to accumulate points. We need to accumulate a buffer. And I'm annoyed that we've dropped 4 points against Liverpool and again this morning. That is frustration. It leaves just a little bit of a sour feeling in my mouth. However, overall, if this was a Manchester City podcast or another team's podcast, they would be looking at this in a different angle. They'd be saying, wow, look at Arsenal's consistency. Another clean sheet. You can't score against them. Another match where a team can't get a shot on target. They're grinding out results when everyone else is faltering. They haven't lost. Everyone else has lost a few matches, drawn matches over this last 6-7 Premier League fixtures. They'd be saying, how are we going to catch these guys? Their set piece threat, their defensive stability, their defensive excellence. they're built for cup matches, because in cup matches, a cut can come down to a moment where you could you can nick one from a set piece or a corner or something. Football isn't. Football and life sometimes is about perspective and angles, and the way you choose to look at it can really inform how you feel about it afterwards. So on one hand, I'm a little bit annoyed that we haven't really extended our lead as much as we could have. At the other end, I'm looking at it and thinking, if you told me heading into this match day that we would extend our lead over Manchester City in the wash-up of these results, would I have taken it? Of course I would have. Not in this manner, though. It would have been much, much better and easier to really hammer this point home if we'd won. And that's just that frustration. So I realize I've just been talking a lot and I haven't really spoken about the match itself. And look, inside, I'm trying to, I guess maybe that's a stalling tactic from me. It's a coping mechanism, because I don't want to talk too much about the match itself, because it was kind of yuck to watch. It wasn't good, lacking intensity. Yet again, I feel like we're stifled. I know that word handbrake, it gets used so much now, it's overused. I kind of can't really associate it with it anymore, because it gets branded around too often. But there was a timid nature to Arsenal that I can't quite put my finger on. Forest aren't really that good this season. I mean, they're 17th in the table, are they? And look, clearly they wanted to draw out of this. I mean, Sean Dyche always has something special up his sleeve for Arsenal, for Arteta. You saw the way they celebrated, right? Like they got exactly what they wanted. Look at the way the crowd reacted. Look at the way the players were high-fiving, slapping each other on the back and stuff. And the way that Dyche, immediately after shaking Arteta's hand, his arms were raised to the crowd, thanking them and applauding them. They're 17th in the table. It's this, I guess it's the levels Arsenal are at now. Like, how many times do we go to these and it's one of the biggest tickets in town. It's a huge occasion, a huge audience watching, a packed crowd. The players are up for it. They want to test themselves against the best, and the managers G themselves up for it. You can see the intensity, but what it means to them. Even when they lose, you saw what happened to Emery when he just walked off. Arsenal are a huge deal at the moment. And I've been saying this consistently, that everywhere we go now, we need to handle that pressure cooker that everyone wants to peg us down. Pundits line up. I mean, knives are sharpened. They just wait for any reason, any excuse to sink the boot in. This is just where we are at the moment. I can't quite explain it fully. I have theories, but that's for another time. However, right now we just have to cope with it. I mean, this is, and how many times do we see an opposition keeper turn into like prime Neuer, right, when we come up against them? Despite my frustration at the match and the performance levels, we did have chances to win the game. We did. That Sells had an incredible save against Saka's header. That was incredible. So often, football, even though there's a dirty low block, he's parked the buses as close to goal as possible, as we expect, always defending with 10, 11 men behind the ball, defending very deep, all that stuff that we just come to expect now when teams shape up against Arsenal. But we still get moments. It was an excellent header from Saka, and a fantastic save. And what can you do? I haven't seen the XG stats just yet, but I reckon what Forest would be 0.15, 0.2 to Arsenal. Would it be 3? Maybe someone can correct me, please. Would it be in that 2.5 to 3 bracket? That wouldn't surprise me, because Martinelli's missed another glorious chance as well in the first half, and you just got to put that away. I mean, you just got to put that away. I've got nothing else really to say about it. I mean, it's the deflection has fallen kindly to him. He's at the back post. He's positioned well. He's onside. Just smack it in, mate. Smack it in with your left foot. And he missed one last week as well at the back post. And it's frustrating, because you need your squad. You need all your moments. You need. It was shaped up beautifully what Arteta did here. We saw the opportunity to sit down Saka, sit down Martinelli. This is the 3rd or 4th successive away matches in a row. We're away to Inter Milan midweek, so we've got the squad there. So let's use them. And Martinelli had a fantastic chance in, and he's just got to score, unfortunately. And he didn't. And yeah, and on top of Saka's save, there was that Merino header as well. And look, when that ball went in, when I was watching, I leaned forward watching him bet on my iPad, because if there's someone you want on the end of that, and it's not Gabriel, you want Merino. You want Mikel Merino. He's an excellent technician, excellent finisher, and he just got the header wrong, and it went wide. And yeah, there was opportunities. There was scattered opportunities, but you just need one, because they're not going to score against us, and we are so defensively excellent. You just need one to go in, and that's the game. And that's 1-0 to the Arsenal, and that's 3 more points, and it changes the entire complexion of not just this recording, this podcast, but this the entire feeling across the fan base at the moment. You just need one. So I usually do a little segment about selection, which I just realized I haven't done yet, such as the nature of these sort of post-match instant reaction podcasts. I'm a bit all over the shop. It's a bit of a raw reaction, and I just tend to sort of talk out loud as I go along. So I have a few worries about our defense. Again, if you've listened to me before, you heard me talk about the successive starts, especially in a compressed week like this. I mean, last time Ben White made 3 starts at right back, he got injured. And it was telegraphed. We all saw it happening, and I could kind of see something happening again now. We've got Lewis Skelly there, who, again, it's probably a conversation for another time. I think it was right to sit him out, as I said at the time, against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, especially with how that game went, how good Esteval is. He's a genuine threat. I think they've got an absolute star there, by the way, which pains me to say, but I digress. So I think we were right to sit him out of that one, take him out of the firing line, and I fully expected he's going to play this match in the Premier League. We are grinding White into the dust. We are grinding Timber into the dust as well. And I know Mosquera has returned back to the squad, and maybe Arteta has a plan in mind now for away at Inter Milan that we can do something with Mosquera. Unsure about how long Hincapié is going to be out for. Calafiori, they're apparently a couple of weeks away as well. Some muscle injuries to recover from. So in the meantime, though, Gabriel is another one who's made a number of starts. I know Saliba, he got a day off a week ago, so did Trossard. So we are doing some squad management, which is excellent. However, if something else happens something happens to White or Gabriel, the question mark is going to zoom right in on why aren't we utilizing Lewis Skelly? Sure, he's in a tough moment. Absolutely. Now, he had a breakthrough season last year, did exceptionally well. He's so young, so much football, so much upside to him. I'm not worried about that at all. And sometimes there's an argument that a player can play themselves out of form as well. So it's just a question mark of what really is going on there. And Timber is excellent. Of course he is. I just don't know about him in that left channel. I know he inverts and he's very good on the ball and very involved. I just think I look at our shape sometimes and I think, have we got just too much of that going on at once? Was this a game for Rice and Zubimendi and Odegaard largely occupying similar spaces in midfield? Odegaard was dropping very, very deep in this match. And it stands out more when the opposition sit as deep as they do. I would like to see us progress the ball more. I would like to see us step forward more. And we had moments where between Timber as well stepping into midfield, we had a lot of congestion in and around there. And it allows the overload from Forest to really overload a number of players, especially wide. Madueke wasn't getting much space to operate within. He did quite well considering set pieces. His corner taking delivery is really improving as well, by the way. However, I just look at moments like that and I think, well, in this sort of low block scenario, are we better off? Playing? I'll cut to the chase here. Did we need Rice and Zubimendi for this? I don't think we did. No, I think this was an Eze game. I think this is the type of game that he could really flourish in, where we dominate possession, dominate a lot of the ball. He can have some territory to operate in the final third. I think he should have played. Having said that, and maybe you watching this, your immediate reaction would be like, well, when he did come on, what did he really do? Did he touch the ball much? I don't really think so. Had one half chance that he unfortunately couldn't control with the ball bouncing as it was. It's would that have changed if he was given 90 minutes to play in today? I think yes. I think it would have been worth a try. It's all hindsight now, isn't it? Because like I said before, football is about angles. If one of those opportunities went in, if Martinelli scored his, if Saka's header went in and Sells didn't make that worldy save, would I even be talking about this? No, I wouldn't. And that's just the reality. That's the reactionary nature to football, isn't it? But I just wonder, a few question marks I have about selection, and I'd like to see Arteta address that. Can Lewis Skelly play in Milan? Right? If he can't play away at Forest, can he play in Milan? I'm not sure. But we've got to be really, really careful because we are stretched very thin in defence. And it was around this time last year, wasn't it? Was it a match against Palace where Gabriel did his season-ending hamstring injury as well last season? I tell you what, as much as it may frustrate now, not getting the results, at least we're coming away with no more injuries unscathed. We're coming away from these matches unscathed because defensively we're quite stretched and we need our key players in big European quarterfinals, semi-finals, the final. You want the best partnership in the world. You want Saliba and Gabriel there. And I'm a bit of a worrier anyway, as you probably know by now. So I'm just keeping an eye on. When I saw selection, when I saw that straight away, it's the first thing I was thinking. First thing I thought was like, what is going on in defence? So from one frustrating topic to another, which always drains the energy out of me as well. And I'll try and keep this as brief as possible because I really hate talking about refereeing and officiating and stuff. The moment I saw Michael Oliver, I knew there was going to be a moment. And, look, to his credit, when I saw Timber take down the Forest player on the edge of the box, and how quick was he, by the way, to pull out his yellow card? How quick? He has no hesitation doing that against Arsenal. It was almost as if he had the whistle in his mouth and he had his finger already holding the card, by the way. Gave the yellow card to Timber. And I thought if he's going to pull out a penalty out of nowhere, I thought he'd pull it out for that one. So look, credit where it's due. It was outside the box, but you never know with VAR, especially with him in charge. But the moment I saw that there was a VAR check for that handball against Nottingham Forest, remove the referee for a moment, remove the teams involved. I've seen a few of them this season and they're given. Would we have deserved that penalty on the balance of the game necessarily? Probably no, but that's not how football works. It's just not. Sometimes it does take one moment, as I've consistently said throughout this entire recording, does take one moment that you can take advantage of and capitalize. And I've seen them given. But those are penalties. There's actually literally an angle where the ball is going out for a corner. The Forest player, I forgot his name, pardon me, but he's actually moved his right arm to corral the ball back into the field of play so he can boot it out and not concede a corner. Isn't that handball? It's handball to me. I'm no expert. I'm no lawmaker. I don't know. I can't cite the regulation, the official rules verbatim, word for word. But that's handball. And I've seen plenty of them given. And the moment that happened, though, when I put Arsenal back into it, put Michael Oliver back into it, he's not paying that. Arsenal don't get those penalties. We just don't. And it is what it is. The longer and longer the replays took, the more and more I knew they just weren't going to pay it. And it was no surprise to me that he waved play on. And it is what it is. On we go. All right, good. So that little segment's out of the way. I don't want to be one of those people who just sort of cry and moan about officiating decisions. I just call things as I see them, and then I move on. And that's what I'll do right now. So back to the game itself. We needed some freshness. We needed some sharpening up in that second half. I've said this a lot this season, actually, that our second halves tend to be a lot better than our first. There's probably a theory in there somewhat, but we didn't start this second half particularly well. It was right to bring Trossard on at halftime. I actually wondered, was that the time to bring Eza on as well? But look, then it got to the 56th, 57th minute. We've then made a triple change, which has seen Saka introduced. Who else came on? Marino as well. Yeah, Jesus for Gyökeres. I haven't spoken about that Gyökeres moment as well. Look, that's the kind of space he wants when he breaks through. This is in the first half. He did quite well considering he kept the ball in front of him. He just got to the box. I was just waiting for that explosion of pace that we've seen. I've seen a lot of that in the compilations from him, from Portugal, that when he's given that space, you don't get many of them in the Premier League. In fact, I can't think of too many examples of that, too many moments in the Premier League season so far that he's benefited from. But I was just waiting for that real burst of pace, that acceleration to charge into the box and just to rifle the shot away. And look, maybe credit to Murillo. It was his mistake to begin with. He's got up, he scampered back, he got the block at timely, and he snuffed out the danger, unfortunately. But Gyökeres needed to come off. Jesus, I didn't think he was involved. The thing with Jesus is that instantly you see his involvement. He's very lively, wants the ball, wants to feel touch, and that's fine. He wants to link up. Just the nature of this match was that we just didn't have that sharpness. This is not to single out Jesus. I think all of the players were quite subpar. All of them were well below the levels. Was anyone really above a 7 out of 10 today? A 6.5, 7 out of 10? I don't think so. And unusually, some players who were very consistently good, such as Rice, such as Timber. Saliba was a bit off as well at times, I felt. Saka had his moments, but look, Odegaard was quite well below par. It's just odd that across the board, the players were just not quite at the levels, and even the subs, that they didn't quite work either. I thought Eza should have been on. I'm sorry to keep banging on about that. I'll stop talking about Eza from now on. But he was introduced quite late. I think, was it 80th minute, 79th, 80 minutes? And the game was just drifting, unfortunately, and Forest were doing everything they could to slow the game down more and more. They were drawing some fouls too, and we got sucked in. There was some silly fouls we nipped in. Did we need to get that foot in or that obstruction? We played into their hands, and they could easily soak down the clock, easily suck up another 30, 45 seconds. How it was only 5 minutes added on injury time, I don't know. But again, nothing surprises me anymore. I just sort of sarcastically laugh and chuckle and move on. There was no way it was 5 minutes. I would have thought it's 8 or 9 at a guess. But anyway, would we have done anything meaningful? If it was another 10 minutes, I don't know as well. So I'm not going to bemoan that too much more. Overall, it was just a pretty tame, timid finish to a game where, it probably should have and could have been different. Yeah, I think, I don't really have much more to say about it. And I would quite like to compartmentalize this match and move on, because we are back in action again away to Inter Milan. And we've earned the right to rotate and rest some players there. But it's a big match away against Inter Milan. We should have beaten them last season. There was that moment where that penalty that was given and we didn't get one. I think it was Marino's basically head was whacked in the opposition penalty box, basically punched his head, the goalkeeper did, and we didn't get anything for that. So that's going to live in the memory for Arteta as well, and I think the players will want to play that one. A huge European giant. They all want to play that, and we want to finish as high up as possible in the Champions League. I don't believe we can slip lower than second, by the way. And the final match is against Kairat, which you'd imagine at home at the Emirates, that even with a rotated lineup, we should have enough to get the 3 points there. So we just got to grind out through this little period, don't we? And overall, it's not as bad as I'm making it sound more bleak than it is, because we're still 7 points clear. I know Aston Villa are still to play and they can close the gap. Is it 4 points they can? I don't know. But look, I've got to be honest, with all due respect, I don't really see them as a major contender. They're having a good moment, and that's fine. But over the course of a Premier League 38-game season, I don't expect them to maintain this kind of pace. Yeah, it could have been more. It should have been more. A similar feeling I had against Chelsea midweek at Stamford Bridge. We've gone there and we've won. We've won a cup semi-final at Stamford Bridge, and still we walk away thinking, oh, it could have been more. It should have been more. I mean, such as the levels now, such as the expectation, the anticipation of Arsenal, such as the evolution, that I'm still left wanting more. And look, I don't know if that resonates with you, but please do let me know. Please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts, your feedback. I'll read every single word. Thank you. If you're listening on audio, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please follow the show. Leave me a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. And look, I'll be back on in a few days' time to talk more, because the matches just coming in thick and fast. And overall, we're poised really well. Top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. We're ahead going into a second leg of the Carabao Cup, a semi-final. Things looking great. It just doesn't quite feel that way right now, does it? It could have been more. But anyway, I'm going to sign this one off. Thank you so much for listening. As always, look after yourselves, check in with your loved ones, and come on, Arsenal.